Hi everyone, Evette Rose here, and welcome to Finding Your Spirituality Summit. Guys, I'm so excited here because here we are live in Ubud in Bali, and I have Ma here with me. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much. So guys, also here, Ma is a physician. He's a meditation instructor. He's a fitness instructor. He's also a martial arts teacher. And he also has this beautiful vision to bring mindfulness to people's lives. And he's been to 25 countries. And he's also learned fire dance in Thailand and also free flow dance. And he also had a doctoral career, which you have now put on hold. Tell me more about that, because that is a big transition to make. To start to learn something like that, that's a commitment. That's a decision that you, of course, make with a clear intention because you want to go somewhere in your life, but then something changed, something moved around a little bit for you. What inspired you to change your path like that?
For me, it was just following a simple intuition, and then one thing led to another, led to another. So there was no real plan about leaving or putting it on hold.
Wow.
So sometimes you just need to follow what comes. And then it might be a year, might be two, might be your lifetime. But what is time in the end? So that's what happened. And until now, I did not return to that because I feel called to do other things. And then when the voice in the back of my head comes and tells me, "Oh, but you wasted all that time doing medicine and
Right.
just doing all that for nothing," I say, "Why for nothing? It's all experiences. Whatever you have studied, whatever you have felt, whatever you have experienced with your colleagues,
Yeah.
with your teachers, with the building, with the place, within that, there is always an experience you take and you lead your life through that. It does not mean that you only have that knowledge. It's not the knowledge. It's what comes, the experience behind the knowledge, the heart behind the knowledge. That's what can guide you."
Beautiful. I love that. So what I'm hearing also is because what I'm seeing so many of what we are doing, we think we live our spiritual life. We think that we have found our path, but sometimes we don't realize that subconsciously we're trying to go onto a path to fulfill mom's dreams, to fulfill dad's dreams, to maybe live up to certain societal standards. And we think it's something that we are in alignment with, but what we actually are in alignment with is the outcome that we want by taking a certain action. And that is maybe for approval, to be heard, to be seen in a certain way. And we try, it's like the carrot and the stick, but in going in the wrong direction, almost like it's not in alignment with, in terms of maybe where people feel that core emotional connection to that. Because one thing that I learned in my life is, you clearly have, took that left turn, or as I would say, you're going at 1,000 miles an hour and suddenly boom, life just gives you a left turn and you take it so fast because it just feels right. And that's because you were connected to that emotional resonance, to something. What was that something for you that made you move to that? What is it that attracted you to that?
So before that decision, there was some years before that where I can say my spiritual journey began. But in reality, the spiritual journey begins the day we come here, actually, because it's all growth,
Right.
right? And that entity you are as a baby, we call it, it's still growth, and that spirit came to that to grow more and more. So yeah, but we come back to the before that. It was just a moment where following the path which I already started, and then a sudden downfall. That's what made rearrange and rethink and really feel what is the right thing to do in that moment. While going on a path of spirituality, and then suddenly something strong hits you. And you're like, "Oh, what is the next thing?" And then I went to a cave and just meditated there for 4 days. And then I just felt, oh, this is the thing to do. And the answer came to me successively, like one, two, three, four times. Would just ask, and then I would see something uh, in the past, a structure, a calling, a sound, whatever. It was just, and you need to follow that. But also one thing which is also a message to you who was watching
Yes.
is not to think that that calling is gonna come to you all the time, because some people go after that. Is like, oh, where is the calling? And then they misinterpreted things as messages, and then they go into a loop of we can say it can end up to psychosis.
Right.
That's what I see with my patients. Or
So it almost becomes like a type of unhealthy obsession, but they think that they're walking on the right path.
yes, it can lead to delusions, and then if our genetic predisposition is intact enough for psychosis, then
Yeah.
psychosis can spike up fast, and then we can just think that things are talking to us or something like that. So there is a fine line between sanity and insanity, and call it this way.
That is that's amazing. That's very insightful. How can you share any tips with us? Any ways or symptoms, or maybe those little red lights to look for to not get onto that path, to avoid getting stuck in that?
Mm, that's a very good question. If I if I have a thought which comes to me repeatedly,
Yeah.
and I'm always searching for that, and that thought is just coming to me while I'm as soon as I wake up, I go to sleep, and that thought is repeating to me and leading to me a compulsive behavior, okay,
Right.
with an emotional weight. And
Yes.
that emotional weight, if somebody is even touching that, then I'm bursting. I'm saying, "What do you know about this? This is my revolution. This is I'm the chosen, whatever." Like when it becomes an intense emotion in, behind it, and there is a lot of reactivity, and that thought comes repeatedly. So thoughts
Yeah.
and emotions, and I act on that by being aggressive or being much more um, active, I would say, than other, because it does not have to deal only with aggression. It can also be a nice action. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Yes. It can be like, for example, if I
Oh.
feel that I am the chosen one, then I can help everyone. Then I go give all my money, for example, to something, and I'm like, yeah, see, I'm so generous, and then I
Right.
always do. But where is yourself? So there is always a fine line. There is always a balance there.
That's powerful. That was very insightful because here and for everyone who was listening right now, here's see how fast you can go thinking that you're doing the right thing, because we're always looking for the negative. We always think that the problem is within the negative, but what you're saying is it can also be inside of a perceived
Mm,
positive experience.
yeah.
And so, I mean, giving, of course, is a beautiful positive act. But now we also should probably explore and look at, why could we be giving so much? What is it that in you that feels perhaps amiss or unfulfilled? Or what is it that the feedback that it is that you're looking for by giving that positive, or by taking at least that positive action?
Yeah, it's always about the intention.
Yeah,
Yeah, positives and negatives, it's nothing in the weight of God, of the universal laws. It's just an action, it's the
that's
intention.
amazing. That's amazing. I love that. This is a very beautiful journey that you've been on. And something that you also said that really touched me deeply was when you said that you actually went to a cave and you meditated for 4 days. What did it feel like to go within? So you went into the cave, you sat down and you meditated. What did that inward journey feel like? Because this is a journey that so many of us are yet to learn, to yet to experience, because we don't want to go inside, because that's sometimes where all the bad voices are, where the negative emotions are. So of course we build and construct our lives to kind of move away from that, around that. What did it feel like for you to really go within? What was your experience?
Mm. So at that time, I had a lot of conflicts,
Yeah.
and even I was in the spiritual path, and I was in a reasonable good place. But
Yeah.
in that moment, as if I was turned back again to where I was before that. that conflict, that thoughts process, all the emotions, they
Mm,
always can come once in a while, and we just need to know how to just observe them.
yeah,
That's what I did. I was just in the beginning, I was more immersed into it, and then
yeah.
I became more and more of an observer as time passed, just
Okay.
more an observer. And when you observe things, you do not become one with it, but you become over it. You become one with the universe, and this becomes just one thing within the universe. So actually, you detach to attach.
Hey, okay.
You detach to attach. So you detach from a small thing to attach with the whole thing. And then that small thing becomes just a matter of the whole. And then it becomes so small because you are the universe.
That's beautiful. That's really clicking into place for me. That makes absolute sense. It's also about learning how to just sometimes be a witness and not get so emotionally and also intellectually involved, because that's when we bring, I would say, probably the ego also into it.
Mm. Yeah, the ego is always there. And
Yeah,
we need to just learn how to befriend the ego
right.
and just know that the ego is not just one. Ego is different personalities within that. It's like a
That's true.
committee, it's like a congress.
That's actually really true. What is the best advice that you perhaps heard from someone, or a step that you took to help to start to even understand your ego within this place and space of growth and expansion?
It's my aggression.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
aggression, hurting people,
Right.
hurting people
Got it.
with getting intense emotionally,
Mm,
um, crashing window, being very, yeah, oh, the window can hurt, the glass can shatter on someone. Or those like being being empathetic, being uh, yeah, sympathetic, and not wanting to hurt. That was one main thing.
right.
Yeah, that was the main thing. Hurting my family, hurting my with the aggression I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of aggression um, towards everything.
Mm,
It was more towards self, um, towards
okay.
God not showing me the way as I would put it if I return back to myself and have a talk. Yeah, but where is God? He's not showing me anything. Yeah, you have to surrender so he can present because he's always there. But
Right.
so be able to be present for you because he's always present. But for you, for your perception, your five senses, that's not gonna be until you surrender to the sixth sense, to the behind, and then he can appear within that, but you will not understand that he's there if you didn't surrender first. And there is difference between surrendering in peace and just surrendering as being uh, brutalized by the enemy or like, oh, now
Right.
I have to surrender.
Yeah.
Oh, there is difference. And this is what we call the difference between Islam and Islam. So Islam, which is actually, it means surrendering in peace. Being Muslim means the person who surrenders in peace. It does not have to do with a specific religion, but it's everyone. بَلَا مَنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ لِلَّهِ. It means whoever just surrenders in peace to God's face, God's presence.
Right.
This is it, and not being the difference. I can just make a small metaphor about it. If you are in the ocean
Yeah.
and you are trying to swim there, and you cannot, you are drowning, then you're just doing anything, and you can see in the movies or something that they are gargling,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they are surrendering, and then they descend to the bottom of the sea.
Right.
Another person, he surrenders, but he just lets himself float in the ocean. This is the difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
And when you surrender
Yeah.
and float, then you can learn how to swim.
Right.
Then you okay, how to okay, the waves are coming this way, okay, how to navigate. Oh, maybe I calm down my breathing first, I do that, all that, so I can float a longer time,
Right.
and then you start working your brain. But
Yeah.
first is the heart. You need to just surrender.
Because if the heart is in a state of surrendering in the positive sense that you just explained, then it's in a place, then there's complete absence of anxiety. And that's where we find our place of stability and silence to actually connect to what is that inner voice, to connect to the next step that could actually be there. Because when we are in a state of survival, and this is something that I've experienced so many times myself, is you don't think clearly, you don't hear the advice that people even give you. Sometimes people give you the perfect advice on a silver platter, but we can't receive it because we can't take it in, because we're not in that state of being open to receive it. Because when we're not in a place of surrendering or allowance and acceptance, then we're blocking that. Yeah, I can see that very clearly in my life, where I have done that quite a few times. So I wanted to also ask you, what is your, while we're on this topic of, perception and just really diving deep into that, how do you see spirituality? What does it mean to you? Because spirituality is such an intimate, unique experience for all of us. We all have our own definition and interpretations of that. What does it mean to you?
Mm. So spirituality comes from the word spirit, right?
Yeah.
And spirit, how we perceive it. For example, the Quran, there is two different names for that.
Yeah.
Which is nafs and rawh.
Mm-hmm.
So for spirit, there is two names.
Mm-hmm.
So nafs is my nafs, your nafs, and other people's nafs. And then rawh is the cast of spirit from God. وروح منه. So this it's an energy. How I perceive it is an energy, it's a frequency
Right.
beyond this universe.
Yeah.
So it can be a materialistic thing outside this universe. It's something behind this universe where we tune into. We are like receivers, and we can tune in a certain frequency, and then we get that spirit. So this is level 1 of spirit, the nafs. And then the next level, which is the rawh, which is a higher purified, a higher version, higher purified, which we can say that it's like the nafs is like the vessel, and the rawh is like what is inside, what elevates it. So imagine like a cup, and then the rawh just elevates that and make it more full, more higher.
Mm.
And this what comes in is actually like helium, so it lifts up. So this is how I can.
I love that. I love that. How did you feel that day when you feel, or when you realized, I found my path, I found my spirituality, I found my sense of self within that?
So every I would say, we can say every moment there is a different revelation, but I would say for me, maybe every couple of months or something, there is a aha moment, like a strong aha moment. And within those aha moments, there is small aha moments.
Right.
And then we can say the first aha moment, and yeah, we can continue. And by the way, aha, the ah and the ha is actually, yeah, it's one of the first. I feel it's the most simple pronunciations. Like it's Allah, sound.
Okay.
It's the ha, and om, also aum, also in Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah, I just drifted there, but yeah.
Oh, but
Yes.
that's perfect. I must have had just an intuitive, connection there to that, something.
Yeah, okay,
I
yeah.
love that. Okay, I did not know that.
And Allah means the God. It's no name of God. It just means the God. Because many people confuse that. I want to elaborate on that.
No, that's good. I
Yes.
did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so there is a one saying is that al-ilah. Al means the, ilah means God. So
Right.
the God is Allah. It's just having the two words set together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah. So the question again.
Hey, this is the aha moment in
Yes.
spirituality. So you said that you had several.
Yes.
Do you remember the first one that you had? Especially something that we can share for people who's now on their path of, trying to find the spirituality. Sometimes they're just looking for signs. They're trying to understand what should it look like? What should it feel like? How do I know that
Yeah.
I found my spirituality and that it's mine and not someone else's, or not walking in someone else's footsteps? So I'm just curious, how did you unravel that
Mm.
process for you in your journey?
Mm. So for me, I was in a deep negative situation. For me, I felt trapped. You feel a revelation comes from adversity,
Right.
and I was really going downhill.
Yeah.
And what happened for me, it happened a situation, and then I lost memory for one day. Something called dissociative amnesia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Familiar with that one.
Yeah. And I lost memory of half a day, and then after that, as if I had been restarted, as if my brain was just restarted, and I was walking very blissful. And before that was so difficult time. So when I was there,
Wow.
I was like, wow, what is this? As if I was walking on sky, another sky. I
Yeah.
was like in hell. And for me, at that time, I didn't understand what that feeling was. But afterwards, I would get that feeling when I commanded to happen, I would be in that state.
Yeah.
But at that time, I didn't understand what it was. So when I was in that state, then I had all those questions and all those doubts about God, about the
Mm.
religion, about all that.
Yeah.
At that time, I was atheist agnostic kind of.
Yeah.
And this was around for 1.5 to 2 years happened for me. And basically at that time, I was I was open to receive. And once I was open to receive, where we talked about the surrendering peace, I was in that state. I was forced there. I was like, something happened and I just got that state. So I was really blessed to be in that state.
Wow.
And once I was there, then I was talking with my grandfather. And we talked about spirituality. And then suddenly one answer got answered, like a question of mine, which I had very strongly attached all my belief system with, was answered. I was like, whoa, okay, maybe if I got one answer, then maybe I will get others.
Yes.
And then I started opening. And then I just asked one question. I said, God, if you are there, just show me. That's it. If you are
Okay.
there, just show me. And that was my basis. I was just like that. And then I was just day after day, I would find something calling me to do something, to open the TV, to this I had.
Yeah.
And then all my questions, most of my questions at that time got answered. The main questions where I had, which was revolving around the belief that there is no God or there is God. And then 6 months after, I believed in God.
Right.
And then 6 months after that, then I remember I was like, uh, now I believe in God, I believe in you, God. I know that you are here, but can you just give me something? Just like something
Yeah.
different, something
Yeah.
which is the final. And 2 days after it happened for me, like for me, it was a miracle, but I would like to keep that private.
That's okay,
And
of course.
yeah. and and then what happened was after that, I almost didn't doubt afterwards.
Wow.
And I was just in a place where it's not a place of belief, but it's a place of knowing. You just know it.
Yeah.
And you cannot explain it to people. And
Mm.
that's why everyone have to go just through the process by themselves. We cannot, if it was convincible, then everybody would be in the same levels,
Yeah.
you know? And then I would be in a place of the highest high and
Yeah.
this. So there's always,
But two things that you said was very important. And one was something happened, you lost your memory. So now we would think, what's wrong? What's wrong? And your mindset, you flipped that around and you were thinking, what is the opportunity? What is the deeper positive meaning behind this? And I love that, because the first thing sometimes what I find also when my spirituality started to open up, I realized, and I was thinking, I was going through all these moments and stage and I'm having panic attacks, like they increased tremendously. Almost every day I would have 1 to 2. And it was horrifying because I'd be too scared to go out because I didn't want to have a panic attack in public. And now I realized now that I was looking at it, I was resisting something that needed to be revealed to me. I was resisting a certain state of surrendering. I couldn't do that. So the more something was calling me forward, the more I felt like I'm losing control, I'm losing control. And that's why I felt the panic. I couldn't accept that space and that place of calmness. And sometimes something needs to happen that either shocks you into it or pushes you into it. And we would see it as a problem. We would see it as now, oh, now what? Now what's happening? And we dive deeper into that feeling and that state of feeling like a victim. But we're, in most cases, that's not what might actually be happening. What if that is an opportunity being presented to you to look at it from a completely different perspective as to what is the highest and best thing or reasoning behind this? Because sometimes we get stuck in that negative and we think, what if this now is going to go into this? What if, instead of asking, what is the next best thing? What is the next best thing that can come from this? How can I utilize this moment in a positive way? And we're always going to a state of doing. We're trying to fix things the moment something is wrong. Well, in this case, something wasn't wrong. That was spirit just going, pause, stop, look around you, breathe, just be, and be okay to just be. Because what more powerful place to be than to be? Because that's where we create, that is where we manifest, that's where we feel, that's where we can control our future. Instead of worrying about it, come into the here and now and take every step that your future self will be thankful for. And you had beautiful awareness of that moment. And to wrap that up, what you said, it's, you felt that feeling. It was just a knowing. It was an absolute knowing. And it just clicked for you. So, and that's something that I also deeply can relate to. Also just knowing, it just felt right. There was no question behind it. There was no fear behind it. There was nothing. It was just this powerful silence. This powerful feeling of peace. And I felt really good also in my life with the conundrums that I myself found myself in, as you have as well. And that's very powerful for sharing that. Thank you. So those are very two important key points there, that people who are on their path of spirituality, who are looking more into, how do I understand this? These are two fundamental points that I can already say and to testify to for myself. This was very significant for me. This was very significant to just also trust. And it was easy to trust in that moment because the gut feeling felt so clear. That knowingness just felt so clear. Yeah. So I would love to hear from you also. Is there any advice that you can share with our viewers as well, who are feeling challenged right now to find their spirituality, or not even finding it as a new path, but maybe also just reconnecting to that? Because of COVID, we've been through a tremendous amount of stress. We've been through, and when we are in a state of stress, as you know yourself, it's hard to be in that place of calmness. It's hard to be in that place of connection. We disconnect when we are in a state of distress because we go into survival. So as we started to now move out of that slowly but surely, is there any advice that you can give to people to reconnect back to the spirituality, or people who are trying to find, what is my definition of spirituality? I thought I knew what it was, but after all these things that went wrong and really shook people's beliefs and values to the core, and there's a lot of people sitting there thinking, my entire life has just been broken into pieces. Where and how do I even start to rebuild that, specifically in relationship to our spirituality?
So we can see anything we deal with in life, we can see from inside and from outside.
Yeah.
So, and both are actually one. Whatever we manifest inside just presents itself outside. And also what we do outside also manifests inside. And then I remember some people used to say, is it the chicken first or is it the egg which came first?
That question.
So that's why just let's take both. Let's focus on both,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And basically what you can do inside is the intention you set up, is the thing you put for yourself. which basically, why am I here? The questions, the fundamental
Yeah.
questions in life. Why am I here?
Yes.
What am I here to do? What is my purpose in life? What is my goal? What is my values? Those questions, having them answered and really resonating and feeling deeply within,
Mhm.
and taking them and having them as a mantras in during the day and keeping it with us. You can have like a mala, you can you can this in Hindu, in Buddhism, in Islam, use for just mantras. You can have your favorite value, for example, during the day. If it's peace, then just recite peace, 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 and remember that.
Okay.
And while breathing, and this can be so basically we take the things we talked about inside of us, which is the fundamental questions, and taking them into the outside world, having them as kind of our own, um, we can say ritual, we can say habits, we can say something consistent we do consistently, and more importantly, having specific times also for something, having a frame. So we want to have
Right.
a frame where within it we put those beautiful behaviors and those beautiful rituals, but having a frame. And what does frame means? Frame means I wake up in the morning at 4:30 or 5 a.m. and I sleep at this time. In the morning, I begin my day with a question about life, a meditation, something which grounds me, which pulls me back from all what had been happening. I can say the spirit was wandering around, whatever I want to say, whatever. And then just grounding that moment in the morning. And before going to sleep, sleeping on something that a nourishing thing. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a positive or negative. Let's try to also decrease the judgment towards things positive and negative,
Yeah.
and just be what is nourishing for me now? What can I sleep with which I feel blessed with?
Yes.
This that like, what can I do
Yeah.
in the morning and in the evening?
Yeah.
This is the frame. And within that frame, we do some things which nourishes our soul. It can be
Exactly.
work, it can be, but when I'm doing the work, I do it in the intention I already mentioned before.
Exactly.
So I have those questions answered. And then I just, okay. So I'm doing the work. Which intention am I doing this work for? Right?
Yes.
It's because I want to be connected with my family. I want to have peace in my life. I want to this. And then those values, when I'm doing the work, I'm telling them to myself. I am I am connecting with myself. I'm connecting with the people.
Yeah.
I'm living in peace. And that's why I'm working. I'm doing this. Whatever it is, it can be anything. Right? So basically, those eternal questions, I am using them in my day
Yeah.
and taking them within me instead of being sucked in a loop of
Mm.
just I have to just do this because I'm doing it. Why are you doing it? Most important question: why?
That's it.
Why?
Mindfulness. And that is your niche. That is what you're so beautifully good at, is to help people to understand why do you do the things that you do, and how to live consciously, how to create consciously, how to set intentions consciously, and how to live a life through a path of consciousness. I mean, that's incredibly powerful. That's very powerful. And I want to know, when we talk about living consciously and living mindfully, is there anything else that you can also share with advice? How can we meet that place of mindfulness? Anything that you would share, for example, with your clients or someone who's maybe very in their stuck in their head and they can't get out of it, or maybe someone is very anxious and they don't even know where to even begin to start creating a life of mindfulness.
Mm. Take your worst fear and just imagine the worst which can happen.
Okay.
Take your worst fear, sit with yourself, breathe, meditate,
Mm-hmm.
and just take that and live it. Live your worst fear. Make the anxiety your worst fear. The anxiety will be diluted, and already you have lived it. So there is no urge for your brain to always continuously come to you and be like, oh, what if, what if, what if? You have already lived it.
Okay.
So if you do that, continue for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, every day you do this training, then you have already lived there. So the intensity of the anxiety will decrease while doing the things in your daily life and remembering why you're doing the thing. And then I will also add on to this, when you have done the worst case scenario,
Yeah.
imagine the best case scenario.
Okay.
So you do those two within, and then after that, after the 2 weeks, you can just meditate on what is your day for you now.
In the absence of that all problem.
Yeah, nothing.
I
Yeah,
love that.
there is just okay, there is nothing, no expectations, not anything coming to you. Just what is my life?
Yeah.
How would I see my life? And I just close my eyes and meditate on that. And you would continue with that with life. You have already, and with that, when you get something also again, which can be intense, you do this exercise and you continue with imagining your life. Maybe in the morning, maybe in the middle of the day, you have a specific time for it. And then that will allow you also to see yourself, to see what is in there in the subconscious. If there is some fear, it will arise within that sphere you have created for it. And then you capture it, and then you deal with it before it becomes a big monster, which takes your life.
That is very true. And I love also what you said, when you said that part about when you feel the worst case scenario, and then think of the best possible case scenario in relationship to this challenge or this fear that you have. So what I'm also hearing what you're saying is like we're bringing the opposite polarities together and it fizzles out. They cancel each other out. What a beautiful way to also just diffuse that. I love that. This is amazing. I would love to also hear, is there anything a message that you have for anyone that's going through a phase and stage, sorry, in their life right now, because this is now the new year. We have New Year's resolutions. We have, a new outlook on life. We want to create a new path. We all want to leave, last year behind and the year before that behind. Is there anything that you can share with people to make this an absolutely powerful year in relationship to them connecting to themselves and also to their spirituality?
Fear does not exist. That's what you should know. Just do now.
Yeah.
Just don't think about what happened. What do you have now? And New Year's resolution, it's a name, it's okay. But for me, there is nothing. And it's just what it is. A new year, a new moment, a new second, right? A new day, a new week. So there is resolutions ending and going and coming at the same time. Yeah, just don't work this too much before you work this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. That's true. I think what you just said also, New Year's doesn't exist. This is, and it's in a way, it's actually true. So much of this is just man-made concepts, and we attach to that, we connect to that to make meaning of our life, to make sense of our life, to create more color in our lives. And I think what would be a positive, fun way and perspective to maybe try to just play with a little bit is to think, what if there's just one linear and we're just continuing in that, but we're boxing this linear, this one line into separate categories and into separate little, snippets and lines. And we're kind of like, we're creating self-imposed limitations on that. That's also what I'm hearing you're saying. Yeah. It's all about embracing freedom. You are free. I love that, guys. You are free. So thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm so excited. And it was a very beautiful, very insightful conversation that I had here with you today. And I know you guys are going to take away so much from this and to be with us, digest it mentally, emotionally, and physically, and just integrate whatever it is you feel that you need to take away from this right now. And what I would highly recommend even for our viewers is maybe watch this twice. Watch this now, and then maybe in a month and 2 months' time, watch it again and see how you feel and you react to this advice, these insights, because we all grow and we grow much faster than what we actually realize. It's just that we are within ourselves, so we don't always see ourselves outside of ourselves, and we always normally just get that feedback from other people. But sometimes what we can do is to go back to something that was maybe that you have watched and see, or that you have experienced, and see, how do I feel in relationship to that now? And that's kind of how I also see how I feel. Wow, I feel different. I see it differently. And that's also my confirmation sometimes for me that you are changing. You are always changing. We just don't always see it in time, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here with us, Ma. I really appreciate your time, your love, your energy, and thank you for the passion that you have for everything that you do. And you're a light worker, you move and shake, and I'm so excited to continue wonderful, amazing projects with you also in the future. So you'll definitely be seeing him again. And for everyone who joined us here today, thank you so much. And until next time, be the light that you are.